Hi, Gene here with today's thought. And today's thought's going to be about New York, or more specifically about leaving New York, people leaving New York, of which I am one. As I've mentioned multiple times in past vlogs, I lived in New York for a little over 40 years. I moved there in 1977, and I left in 2019, early 2019, moved to where I am now in Tennessee. This may surprise some of you, but I am not the only person who has left New York in recent years, and that was actually supposed to be a joke, because I'm sure many of you, most of you, perhaps all of you know that people have been leaving New York for various reasons, and it's not really news anymore when people move from New York. And it's also not news that a lot of these people who are leaving New York are moving. I went to Tennessee, but most or a lot of them are going to Florida. Now, the reason that's not news, but what is news, or what perks up my attention, is whenever one of the people leaving New York is what I guess one would call a quintessential New Yorker, someone you associate with so much with New York that you know, they write about it, they sing about it. You can't imagine them leaving New York. The perfect example would be Woody Allen. Woody Allen, many movies set in New York. He even had a movie called, it was actually called Manhattan, and the introduction is about how a monologue on how he loves New York. Well, he doesn't live in New York anymore. He left a long time ago. He lives in Connecticut. Woody Allen lives in Connecticut, and there are other people, a lot of hedge fund managers. They have left New York and New Jersey too, and moved to where? Florida. Woody Allen is kind of an exception, moving to Connecticut, because Connecticut has a high state income tax, just like New York, maybe not as high as New York, but Florida has no state income tax, and that's why, neither does Tennessee. That's why I moved to one. That was one of the incentives. There were many reasons, but one of the incentives for me to move to Tennessee, and I'm sure it's an incentive, especially for these billionaire hedge fund managers, to move to a state where there is no income tax, where it's just a big fat zero. Now, but the reason I'm vlogging today on this thought, on this matter, is because another name has come up, Billy Joel. Billy Joel is another quintessential New Yorker and a quintessential Long Islander, because he was born on Long Island, I believe, and he has a mansion there and a summer home, two residences on Long Island. Well, and he even wrote a song about it, just like Woody Allen has done so many movies. One of the songs for which Billy Joel is most well known is "New York State of Mind." I'm in a New York state of mind, and just a whole song, just a tribute to New York. Well, he's going to, not so much. It looks like he's going to Florida too. And well, here's the headline. Billy Joel hilariously reveals why he's selling $49 million Long Island mansion. Now, the hilarious part is supposed to be say, well, no big deal. Like a lot of old Jewish guys, he just turned, I guess he's 74 now. Just like a lot of old Jewish guys, I'm moving to Florida in my old age. That's supposed to be the funny, hilarious part. But this is the other quote I want to give you, and it's, just because I'm selling that house doesn't mean I'm the mansion, doesn't mean I'm leaving Long Island. I still have a house on Long Island, he told the audience Sunday night, referring to his recently renovated summer home in Sag Harbor, which is on Long Island. So he's saying, I'm not leaving Long Island. I still have a home there. But here is the question. How much time will he spend in that home compared to Florida? I linked to the article, by the way, so you can read the whole article. He's moving. He's going to have another residence in Florida. Now, where will he spend more time? I would say that, well, the law is in New York, if you spend more than 180 days or 1 day more than 180 days in New York State, then you are liable for New York State income taxes. Florida, meanwhile, has no income taxes. So I predict that he's going to be spending most of his time in Florida. He's going to be in New York less than the time for which he would be liable for New York State taxes. That is my prediction. We'll see how, I don't know how we'll ever find out, but that's what I would guess. As I said, that was one of my incentives for moving to Tennessee. You have to compare to New York City has sales. There's a state income tax, a state sales tax, and a local New York. If you live in Manhattan, he lives on Long Island. But if you live in Manhattan, as I did, then there is a city sales tax on top of the state sales tax. So those two sales taxes are 10%, about 10%, and then you have the state income tax, which is nothing to write home about. It's pretty high, and one of the highest in the country. But in Tennessee, for instance, I don't know about Florida, but where I live now, there is only a state sales tax, and that is 10%. So it's the same as living in Manhattan, New York, but no income tax. So if I want to go back to visit, what I save in income taxes, it pays for, or more than pays for, the cost of a trip back if I want to visit, which is not so often these days, to be honest. But anyways, maybe I've been going back maybe once every. I've been back maybe 2 times, 3 times since I left there. Anyways, so that's my thought for today. More people leaving New York, and the city city and the state don't seem to get it. In fact, the city of New York, or the state of New York, I forget who, they're now charging a congestion fee. If you drive into New York and you're going to be below 96th Street, I believe it is, if you're going to drive into Midtown, you're coming over the bridge, from Long Island or anywhere else, you have to pay extra. I think it's $10 or something. If you live on Long Island and you drive into the city every day, it's going to be a lot more expensive. And why? That just seems like another reason not to not to want to stay in New York. Anyways, that's my thought for today. Thanks for stopping by. If you could subscribe, that would really be great. Share this video with anyone you think would benefit from it. But most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.